After a myriad of rumors linking Stephanie White as the team's new head coach, the Indiana Fever made it official on Friday. White, the 2023 WNBA Coach of the Year, was officially announced as the Fever's head coach for 2025 as the organization looks to compete for a championship in the near future. White spoke to Malika Andrews of ESPN not long after the news broke as the former Fever player and coach expressed how excited she was to return to Indiana. As it turns out, it's not just White who's thrilled to be joining the team. Apparently, White spoke with Fever cornerstone superstar Caitlin Clark on Thursday night before the organization made her hiring official. "I spoke with Caitlin last night, and I think it's just overall excitement," White responded after being asked if she had a chance to speak with Clark before the announcement. "I have been watching Caitlin play since she was an 8th grader, when I was coaching at the college realm and covering her games in college. Just an exciting time for me. Very excited to be working with her and with this young team." Clark has also shared her feelings on the Fever's new coach as the reigning Rookie of the Year commented on the team's Instagram announcement. White's arrival in Indiana is the latest big step for the organization as they usher in a new era. Earlier in the offseason, the team brought in Kelly Krauskopf as the new president, as well as Amber Cox as the new general manager and COO. For her part, White served as the head coach of the Connecticut Sun over the past 2 seasons, where she won Coach of the Year honors in 2023 after leading her team to a 27-13 record that year. Caitlin Clark's successor at the Iowa Hawkeyes has fans convinced the former college point guard has been pretty well replaced. For the first time since the 2019-20 college basketball season, Clark wasn't in the Hawkeyes team as their high-flying point scorer. However, another point guard has arrived from Villanova Wildcats, and Lucy Olsen is flying the flag pretty well in Clark's absence. Clark was a force of nature at the Hawkeyes, breaking the records for most points scored in both men's and women's college basketball, as well as Iowa's all-time assist leader, and even led to the team retiring her historic 22 jersey. Thanks to all this success with the Hawkeyes, including winning every Player of the Year award possible, Clark is regarded as one of the best players the college sport has ever seen. However, Olsen has arrived on the scene and looks ready to try and replicate her predecessor's time in Iowa. Olsen scored 19 points, going 9 for 17 on shots and securing 4 rebounds, 7 assists and even a steal on the play. The Pennsylvania-born athlete was a great player for her former team, the Wildcats, during the 2023-24 season, scoring an average of 23.3 points per game, as well as 4.8 rebounds and 3.8 assists per appearance, and taking her team to a WNBA championship game. However, much like Clark, Olsen fell short of securing the title and transferred to the Hawkeyes as a senior point guard. The 21-year-old has impressed fans across the country, with many heading to social media to share their awe at her debut. The Kansas City Star reports that one person wrote, "Lucy Olsen in her Iowa debut, 19 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds," alongside a fire emoji. Another said, "Lucy Olsen is the perfect type of player to replace Caitlin this year. She's a bucket. I think Iowa's got a good shot to be great again this year if Stubb takes that next step." It remains to be seen whether the 21-year-old will follow in Clark's footsteps and become a moment in history for the Hawkeyes. One thing is for sure, however, women's college basketball is becoming more exciting than ever to watch. By the end of their season, the chemistry that Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston cultivated during their time playing on the Indiana Fever together seemed like it had been forged years ago. And that's because it was. Both Clark and Boston played on various Team USA amateur teams as they continued their ascent up to and through college. While the two players didn't spend a ton of time playing on the same teams, there was one major tournament where they were on the same Team USA roster, the 2019 FIBA U19 Women's Basketball World Cup, which took place in Bangkok, Thailand. Team USA won a gold medal during that tournament. And a clip of Clark dishing an assist to Boston during the championship game, which was a nail-biting 74-70 overtime win against Australia, surfaced on X Thursday. This bucket was marked 2 of the 12 points Boston scored in that championship game. As for Clark, she only finished the contest with 3 points and 3 assists. But that's because Paige Bueckers and Hailey Van Lith, both of whom are now top college guards, combined for 33 points in the win. This team also included Cameron Brink, Ryan Howard, and various other players who are now in the WNBA. Booker's won tournament MVP in 2019. However, during the 2021 U19 FIBA Women's World Cup, which Boston didn't participate in, it was Clark who won tournament MVP. We imagine Clark and Booker's will be competing for more MVP awards in the future. Caitlin Clark has shown her caring side with a private show of support to Iowa Hawkeyes successor Lucy Olsen. Clark is regarded as one of the greatest collegiate athletes in recent history, after breaking countless records in Hawkeyes colors. She is currently the all-time leading goal scorer for both men and women's college basketball, as well as averaging the most points per game of 28.4. Following her move to the Indiana Fever last season after finishing her college career, Pennsylvania-born Olsen switched from the Villanova Wildcats to the Hawkeyes to take up the reins the 22-year-old left behind. Her debut game, a 91-73 win over the Northern Illinois Huskies, has impressed many people as they claim she is the next coming of Clark. With 17 points, 4 rebounds and 7 assists notched in the maiden game of her season, Olsen has now revealed that Clark is fully in her corner this season and added that the athlete knows exactly how it is to be a big game player. Speaking to Haley Jones on her podcast, Sometimes I Hoop, the 21-year-old said, "I've talked to Caitlin Clark a little bit. She's very nice. She's like, let me know if you need anything. I'm always here. I went through a lot and I got you." Olsen's revelation, particularly the last 9 words from Clark, underlined the Fever star's character as someone who is prepared to help out those younger than her and who may be in need of support or advice. Olsen is ready to have an important season with the Hawkeyes in her senior year, after her junior campaign saw her ranked 3rd, only behind Clark and USC's Juju Watkins. The young athlete posted an average of 23.3 points per game, and also won 2024 Big East Most Improved Player. She also added all Big East team honors in 2023 and 2024, and also 2021 Miss Pennsylvania basketball to her list of achievements. 3-time WNBA MVP Cheryl Swoops has earned a reputation for being a staunch Caitlin Clark critic. Despite the constant pushback from Clark fans, the 53-year-old has not been shy about making her opinion of the Indiana Fever superstar clear. One of Swoop's most controversial takes from this past season was when she revealed that there are players who don't want to be in the Fever squad because of all the hype surrounding Clark, a notion that Indiana players appeared to have refuted. Swoops went at it again in a recent episode of former NBA All-Star Gilbert Arenas' podcast No Chill. This time around, Swoops exposed the Fever's big mistake this past season amid Clark's incredible rookie campaign. "Personally, here's where I think the Fever didn't do a very good job, and that was with Kelsey Mitchell, who's an unrestricted free agent," Swoops said, via Women's Fast Break. "Because Kelsey Mitchell had a hell of a season this season, and I don't think that she got the credit that she deserved." As Swoops touched on in her statement, Mitchell is going to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason, which means that she can potentially walk away from the Fever if she wants to. According to Swoops, the Fever failed to properly recognize Mitchell's contributions to the team in 2024 after Indiana made their first playoff appearance in nearly a decade. It is unclear, however, what Swoops expected the Fever to do on the Mitchell front, considering how the organization has already made it clear that resigning the 2-time All-Star is one of their top priorities this offseason. Whatever the case might be, the fact of the matter is that Mitchell's future in Indiana is anything but guaranteed. The 5'8" guard is currently in China for the offseason, playing for the Shanxi Flame of the Women's Chinese Basketball Association, WCBA. Mitchell will return to America in time for the WNBA's new season, but at this point, it remains to be seen if she will stay with the Fever or take her talents elsewhere. WNBA legend Cheryl Swoops recently made headlines after an appearance on NBA icon Gilbert Arenas' Gil's Arena podcast. The former WNBA MVP once again caught the attention of fans after she decided to further criticize Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark. One of Swoop's statements that went viral was when the 53-year-old insinuated that Clark's popularity has had a negative impact on her Indiana teammates. So much so, that Swoops believes Caitlin is pushing her teammates out of Indiana. Unsurprisingly, this seemingly unsubstantiated statement did not sit well with more than a few WNBA fans. A number of them were quick to call Swoops out for this sweeping statement. In fact, one Clark supporter even went as far as claiming that the Fever players themselves refuted Swoops' statement and have effectively come out and basically tell Swoops to shut the hell up. Swoops caught wind of this specific post on X, which by the way, went viral with more than 1.5 million views. The Hall of Famer responded to a tweet by a user who was defending her from this latest accusation. It is unclear what Swoops was referring to when she said they were all lies. After all, she did come out to say that certain Fever players want out of Indiana. As expected, this latest statement from the six-time All-Star has drawn even more backlash from Clark and WNBA supporters alike. Is this your twin in the video, or do you have dementia that you can't remember what you said? A comment read. Look, we gotta give Cheryl some grace and understand where she's now coming from. Being so incredibly wrong with every take that comes out your mouth has got to take a heavy toll on an individual. Put yourself in her shoes, walk around being wrong 24/7 and see how it feels, another said. What is clear here is that Swoops is anything but a big fan of Caitlin Clark. She's made her feelings about the rookie sensation clear on multiple occasions, and it does not seem like she's going to stop criticizing Caitlin anytime soon. However, so long as she keeps going, you can also be sure that Swoops is going to be on the receiving end of some relentless backlash from Clark supporters along the way. The Indiana Fever marked a crucial milestone for the organization on Monday when they officially introduced Stephanie White as the team's new head coach. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull were all in attendance as they offered their support for their new coach heading into 2025. One particular star player who was absent from the major event was two-time All-Star Kelsey Mitchell. More than a few fans were curious as to why she was nowhere to be found, considering how the 28-year-old is one of the most important players on the roster. The fact that Mitchell will become an unrestricted free agent and can opt to walk away from Indiana this offseason made her absence even more intriguing for some supporters. There is a very good reason behind Mitchell's no-show. The fact of the matter is that the 5'8" guard is currently halfway across the globe. Mitchell is in China at the moment, where she signed a deal with the Shanxi Flame of the Women's Chinese Basketball Association, WCBA. Mitchell's off-season departure is far from unprecedented. In fact, several WNBA players are currently abroad playing for different teams while the league is on break. The Shanxi Flame, in particular, have signed stars such as Maya Moore and Alyssa Thomas in the past, to name a couple. For her part, Mitchell has had stints in Egypt, Israel and Spain in the past, so playing overseas is not new for the former Ohio State star. Mitchell recently featured in a video posted on social media alongside a couple of her Flame teammates, Lu Yutong and fellow WNBA player Olivia Nelson-Ododa of the Connecticut Sun. In another clip that is making its rounds on X, the Fever guard is seen promoting a hotel in the Shanxi province of China where she is currently residing. Mitchell's contract with the Flame will only last for a few months. She will be returning to America in time for the start of the 2025 WNBA season. At this point, Mitchell has not made a decision on her future in the league. She has, however, already hinted at the possibility of returning to Indiana. For their part, the Fever have also made it abundantly clear that Mitchell is a key piece for the squad and that her free agency is one of their top priorities in the off-season. WNBA superstars Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier's unrivaled league is on the brink of completing its 30-player roster for the inaugural 3-on-3 tournament in January. In fact, after Wednesday's announcement, the league has already revealed 29 players, leaving just one slot open for the unprecedented all-women's league. Unrivaled announced on Wednesday that Indiana Fever guard Lexi Hull is the 29th player on their roster. The league made the announcement on X just a couple days after naming former Iowa star Kate Martin as part of the unrivaled roster. Hull and Martin have something in common. Both players have had a chance to play with Caitlin Clark. Hull is teammates with the Rookie of the Year on the Fever, while Martin suited up alongside Clark during their time together with the Hawkeyes. This is a connection more than a few fans pointed out when Unrivaled made the Martin announcement, and they are now even more convinced that Clark will be joining the league as well after they signed her Fever teammate. Now that the dust has settled on the WNBA's highly successful 2024 campaign, the fans have turned their attention to the inaugural season of the Unrivaled League. This unprecedented 3-on-3 tournament was established by WNBA stars Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, with their first season set to tip off in January. On Monday, Unrivaled made a big announcement about their latest roster addition, which comes in the form of Las Vegas Aces guard Kate Martin. Before the Aces selected Martin as a second-round pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, she played 5 years for the Iowa Hawkeyes, where she got the chance to suit up alongside Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark. Martin and Clark formed quite a bond during their time together in Iowa, and the pair continue to be close friends to this day. This is exactly why more than a few Clark fans believe that Unrivaled's decision to sign Martin is aimed at luring the reigning Rookie of the Year to the league. It is worth noting that according to previous reports, Unrivaled League is considering a sweeping Lionel Messi-like offer to entice Clark to join the league. This is in reference to the soccer megastar's deal with Major League Soccer, MLS, wherein Messi's contract includes a massive salary, partial ownership and revenue sharing. Clark obviously won't be earning anywhere near Messi's $150 million deal with MLS, but it appears that Unrivaled is doing everything it can to try and lure the 22-year-old. The fans are convinced that signing Kate Martin is another step toward this lofty objective. Despite not playing heavy minutes for the Las Vegas Aces this season, rookie guard Kate Martin has still had to navigate through the dizzying heights of life in the WNBA. Martin's former Iowa teammate, Caitlin Clark, has also gone through an incredibly rapid rise now that she's turned pro, which is at an entirely different level as compared to Martin. On Tuesday, ahead of the Aces Game 2 semifinal showdown against the New York Liberty, Martin was asked by a reporter about her transition to the WNBA and how her days with Clark in Iowa helped develop her ability to block out the noise. "Our attention and the following at Iowa the last couple of years was at a pinnacle, most viewed game. We were a part of a lot of those," Martin said. "And so I think just having that experience, we also had very famous people sitting courtside. I still am in awe whenever I see Steph Curry sitting courtside, or LeBron James, or anybody sitting courtside. That's super cool. But I'm glad that I got to experience that while I was in college as well. Because it's been a smooth transition." There was a lot of attention on Clark even before she came to the WNBA. In fact, the former Hawkeyes superstar is widely considered one of the most popular and most established college players of all time. The fact that she set the all-time NCAA scoring record during her time in Iowa is a clear testament to this fact. For her part, it was anything but a free ride for Martin in Iowa alongside Clark. Martin played an important role for the Hawkeyes as well, earning herself a spot in the All-Big Ten team during her senior year. Martin went on to explain that the unprecedented heights she reached in Iowa alongside Clark played a pivotal role in preparing her for life in the WNBA. "I think just knowing the attention that we got in Iowa and how to handle that, and we've talked through that," she said. "It's a learning experience, it's a learning curve. So not just coming to the WNBA and be hit with that right away. Being able to deal with that before has definitely helped." Martin was a healthy DNP, did not play again on Tuesday as the Aces suffered an 88-84 loss against the Liberty in Game 2 at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. The two-time defending champs are now down 2-0 in this best-of-5 series, and they will need to win the remaining 3 games of this semi-final clash if they want to progress to the WNBA Finals. The good news for Martin and the Aces is that the series now shifts to Las Vegas for Games 3 and 4 before they play Game 5 back in New York. It goes without saying, however, that the Aces will need to win Game 3 on Friday in order to extend the series. A loss will be the end of the line for them in their quest for a three-peat.